Hi guys, new announcement on the writing front. One of my short stories is being published in a queer youth short story anthology, and they said fall this year, but judging by how long it's taking them to get things up in the air, I'd say they're shooting for winter. But I'm really excited, and I just have to mail and sign my contract. Other new announcements, there's a hole in my pants, so I'm actually not wearing any because I'm sewing it. So this week's videos are supposed to be about planning and researching a story. And, so the question comes up, how much do you research? Which, depends on the story, and then, how do you plan it? It used to be I would usually have like some sort of ending in my head, and then I would have like some sort of basic plot as I set up as I like started writing the beginning, and then subplots and everything else would develop as I wrote my first draft. And as I've grown older and as I've like matured in my writing, that has changed, and I've started planning more. So, anyways, the short story that's being published is actually a chapter of my NaNoWriMo novel from last year. And for those of you who don't know, NaNoWriMo, or National Novel Writing Month, is an event that takes place every November, wherein people try to write 50,000 words in the month of November. For me, I only got to 32,000, and now I'm trying to finish the damn thing, which is taking a while considering everything else that's going on and all the other things that I'm trying to finish. Anyways, with my NaNoWriMo, it's a historical novel, which means you have to do way more research than you would for, say, a book, or for something that's set in your own time, in a setting you're familiar with, in the same culture you grew up with, etc. With things like stories that are set in a major city that you've never been to, or a major city you didn't grow up with, there's still a certain amount of like looking things up, blah blah blah. And with fantasy, if it's high fantasy and it's all completely based in another world and you don't want any historical parallels, then you don't really have to research anything. But most of the time, hi kitty. No, cat, stop it. So most of the time, you still have to do some sort of research, because you're like in your head it's based around medieval times, which means you have to do research on certain things, like, oh, where did they go poop or something. With science fiction, you generally have to do a lot, because you have to look at what scientists are saying is feasible. You have to look at, like, especially if you want a character to be an expert in something. If you want a character to be an expert in something, then you have to become a little bit better than them, in a way. And sometimes that involves, like, sort of copying and pasting something, or, like, okay, someone dumb this down for me, or whatever. For Snowflake, I had to do a lot of research on the popular songs in 1958, 1959, movies and books that came out. And actually, I'm really excited because um, Sleeping Beauty by Disney came out January 29th, 1959. So I'm gonna do a scene where they all go to the movies to see it together. And as for planning the story with my NaNoWriMo, because like in October everyone starts freaking out about how they don't have enough planned, so if they don't have everything planned then it will be harder for them to write their quota of like 2,000 words a day. And I was freaking out too because it was my first NaNoWriMo. And um, so first I picked out my main plot line, my subplot, and um, and then I did like characters, and then I started doing main events that I wanted. Like I wanted 3 major events to happen per month because I had it set up so that each chapter was 1 month. Um, and and that was the easiest one to plan. Like right now, I'm trying to plan this sort of like zombie alien-ish story. Like, okay, it's parasitic aliens that cause something eerily similar to a zombie infection, right? Okay, so they're zombie aliens, and um, I I literally can't figure out any ideas for like the main plot. I wanted it to be like, oh, this main character has to deal with like this whole with becoming a zombie before people really know it's zombies because it's supposed to be literally like the beginning of the outbreak. So before it's a huge thing that everyone knows about, right? But that's not a plot. That's background noise. That's like background stuff, right? And it could be, oh, I wonder who's like eating all these people and committing all of these murders in this small town in Illinois. It's the zombies. Yeah. So that's always frustrating. And there isn't really a website to sort of like, there isn't a place to help you out with planning something like that. But if there were, then all of our stories would end up the same, yeah?